Okay, cool. You guys, I love life. I just really have such a good time. Anyway, welcome to, I think, is it week 4? I couldn't remember. It's some week of your midweek high vibe conversations with your host, Kerri Lewis, who is super crazy sometimes, and I love it. And Drew Mack, he can tell you his last name. And today we are unexpectedly joined by my co-host from another show here, Yanko. So I'm chilling because I have two of my favorite humans on earth, like vibing with me on Wednesday. So what's up, guys?
Hey, good to see you. Last name is McCaughey, by the way. You'll get it one of these days. How you doing, Yanko?
I'm doing fabulous. Like, I'm actually thinking that I would love to join you one of those weekends. Not weekends, but like Wednesdays. And I'm always busy on Wednesdays. Sometimes I watch you while I'm driving around and doing other things. And today I just happen to have some time. So I messaged Kerri. I was like, hey, you want me to jump in? I would love to join you guys and vibe with you and see where this goes.
Yeah, fun.
I
More
love
fun.
it. All I can think of is I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. See, I don't know if I need an activation, but hey, if you can get me joy, Andrew, I am with.
Right on.
So, for anybody who's watched last week, first off, Drew and I feel really, truly honored and privileged that you tuned in. The purpose of this show is to truly inspire and encourage you all to take action in your own lives, to find your joy, to find whatever means necessary to be able to cultivate higher vibration, which really equates to just feeling more joyful, feeling lighter, feeling love. And so the fact that you decided to tune in at 12 o'clock on Wednesday to hopefully experience a little bit more joy and learn tools, tips, and tricks to be able to do so is truly meaningful to both myself and Drew. I know you would agree, but do you want to add to that, Drew?
No, that's perfectly well said. And we include all the people that watch the replay too. Like Yanko, I'm sure watched the replay as opposed to me live because he's usually pretty busy on Wednesdays. So yeah, exactly. That's what we're here for. Most people during the Wednesday are at the state where they're just like, oh, I just got to get through Friday. So we want to just do what we can to give you some ideas, concepts, and maybe something that will resonate with you. Maybe actually give you an experience of what it feels like to operate in an elevated state just by watching us.
Yeah. So with that being said, so last week we talked about Drew actually walking myself through an activation. And now we get the opportunity to not only, walk me through what his practices, how he activates his energy and works with his clients, but also Yanko gets to take part. So Drew, why don't you take it away and activate our energy?
Well, I will do that for sure. Hopefully, you guys will get the experience. It's important to note though that the series of events that took place to lead to this is pretty unusual. So I just want to give people an idea of how this all unfolded before I go into what it is. And really what it is it's sort of a concept that came to me many years ago about how I could operate or activate and myself to get into these higher elevated states of emotional frequencies so that I could operate in higher levels of consciousness most consistently all day long. And now I didn't know at the time that was my objective, but I found out later that's what it was. And that sort of coincides really well with development of this little thing here, which I call the vortex energy activation table. And like anybody probably listening to this, it's what? I came out of my activation one morning after just acquiring a new trailer, and it had a little, I'm a pedicab driver for those people who don't know me. I drive a pedicab in Ann Arbor, Michigan around campus. And I had just acquired a trailer that the owner decided he wanted to take out of retirement and get back on the road. And it had a shelf underneath the back seat. None of the other trailers have this shelf in the back seat, underneath the back seat. And I came out of my activation, and the message was, build a Vortex Energy activation table for your trailer. So I was like, do what? So it took a few days, and I eventually started piecing this thing together I just showed you. And what I realized is that, you know, we can talk about, Kerri and I and Janko, we can talk about having people operate in elevated states of consciousness or higher vibrational frequency, emotions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But words don't really teach it. And really it's experience that does. And what happened was, when I stuck that thing under the trailer's made of metal. And I knew the energy was good because I read energy. So I got that part of it. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. But what happened was that the energy, the metal picked up on that energy, and it became a giant high vibration energy field trailer. And people started noticing it when they got in. And I went, wow, I mean, people are picking up on this frequencies, and they're shifting their emotional frequencies like in minutes. So I'm like, maybe this thing's a little tool. And then I started playing around with doing activations with people with this trailer, in the trailer first. Then I got a few months later, I got a hold of a couple of friends that were overseas. And I said, you want to play a game with me? Let's see if this thing is doing what I think it's doing. And sure enough, I would walk people through basically what I walk people through when I'm giving them in my flow state mastery system that I walk them through, but with the pendulum, this pendulum here, this little pendulum right there, and that table, energy is endless, right? So we can reach out and touch somebody, if you will, with really high vibrational energy to give people an experience of what it feels like to operate in these higher elevated emotional states of consciousness. And I've been playing with it now for about 6 months, and it's a ton of fun. So I'll invite you guys, please, to join in if you're watching this live, or if you're watching it on the recording. It's going to be a sort of a shortened version. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm a little precursor. If you're going to participate in this, know that you're going to want to have your eyes closed. You're going to want to be in a quiet space. So no driving cars when you're going through this. You want to be in a nice quiet space to get the experience, if you will, of how you can actually tap into energy fields you probably haven't tapped into yet, or to the extent that you have. Oh, there's Kerri again. You went away for a minute.
I know. Well, you know what? So what I want to highlight real quickly for our audience, right? So again, people know I work with energies that are pretty low. When Drew talks about activation, many of the great thought leaders, spiritual leaders, anybody who really understands any source of consciousness, recognize that when you go into a certain state of consciousness, you do tap into insight, right? And universal insight. And so that's essentially what he's breaking down for you guys in terms of getting the insight to create this table, is whether he was in a meditation or activating his energy, he had that come to him. I also experienced many of those insights, and that's how I show up in business too. It's how I come up with shows. It's how I take action around things. And I know that Janko also does. And so I just want you guys to get clarity. Well, what are you talking about? He tapped into, an activation and had this. So we all have the ability to tap into a greater consciousness than we normally. Well, we operate in it, but we're not always listening. And so that's how this table came about. And the second thing I want to add, suspend what you think you know, right? If you're coming into this with a preconceived notion that it's not going to work, or this is mumbo jumbo, or anything, right? You're going to limit what you could experience through this process. So I would just say stay curious, right? Remain open to whatever comes without judgment, and you'll absolutely receive benefits. Whether or not you can put words to it, it's irrelevant, because to what Drew was saying, and I know Yanko is very aware of this too, we're not always going to be able to put language to our experiences. It's just you trust the experience you're having and know that it benefited you in some way.
Yeah, and it's all based, again, we go back to how do you feel, right?
Yeah.
All based, how do you feel? Do you feel good? Awesome. That's what you're supposed to be feeling, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
Perfect. Very well done, Kerri. Thank you. So the interesting thing to me when I first got this impulse, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do because I'd never heard of it before. And the other thing that happened was I just went with my guidance, and this is important to understand too. I had sort of a concept in my head. Okay, maybe I can do this with it, and I had sort of a lot of the stuff that I put on this table, which I'll describe in a minute. But I also thought, well, I want this and I want that, and I just pieced this together. And when I stood back, now, first of all, I'm not a numerologist, right? I don't really know numbers. I mean, I see them, but I'm not a numerologist. And the stuff that popped out to me very clearly about what energy is in this table just blew my mind. So I'm just going to show you real quick, just walk you through it. So I had no preconceived notion of what this was going to end up like. It was just like a puzzle, right? And I just followed my guidance and I started placing things around this table. And as I stepped back and looked at it, I realized this is energy of being a conduit, because it's mostly copper and it's got a little quartz in the top. This is the energy of the life force of water. This is the energy that represents sort of the universal prosperity and abundance. You've got, sort of an insignia for the universe. You've got gold flakes and you've got obsidian, right? I knew I wanted some kind of an energy circle in here to, pay homage to, the shamanic ancient people that have come before us. They all had energy circles. So I ended up creating this energy circle. Now, I had no compass. So I just grabbed a random bowl and I put it on the table and I drew a circle around it. And I just started placing these beads around it. When I stepped back, when it was all done, and you can see I've got random beads around here, and looked at it, I realized I had 19 of each one of these around this circle. Well, 19 is the number of beginnings and endings in numerology, which was non-intentional. And I have 5 of these blue tiger eye in between each one of these magnetized hematites. Now, the magnetized hematites, this is interesting because, again, not planned. This represents the life force, water energy, right? Water energy, life force. I've got a little piece of moldavite here to connect right up to the top. And what I've got is 12 of these magnetized hematites around this pyramid. So it's grounding, the magnetized hematite is grounding this energy into the ground. And 12 is the number of divinity. 12 is the number of wholeness. Not intentional, again. So, 12 disciples of Jesus. There's 12 months in a year. There's 2 12-hour periods in each day. There's 12 zodiac signs. I mean, it goes on and on and on, how the number 12 has an influence energetically throughout all of us, right? So that just to kind of give you an idea of sort of what blew my mind when I went, wait a minute, how did this happen? I had no idea. So anyway, if you guys are ready and you want to hopefully experience a little high vibe, higher level, elevated level state of consciousness, we'll jump right in. You guys ready?
Ready.
Yep.
So you guys out there watching, you really don't have to do anything. Just follow along. again, you're going to be closing your eyes, so make sure you're in a quiet space and just follow my guidance and let the energy do the work. All right, so just take a deep breath. Release. Take another deep breath. Release. Good. We're going to start by doing a little awareness building. So I want you to just move your awareness right behind your eyes. Just put your awareness comfortably right behind your eyes. Release any tensions. Just put your awareness right behind your eyes and just relax. Now move your awareness into the center of your head. Allow your awareness to be comfortably right in the center of your head. And now move your awareness down your spine, down through your vagal nerve, down into your root chakra. Leave your awareness there. And now allow your awareness to move down your legs, through your thighs, through your calves, out through your feet. Picture it like roots from a tree going down into the core of the earth, down into the core of the earth, reaching all the way to the center of the earth, and allow that root system to encompass the entire core of the earth. You may feel a little warmth. You may feel a little tingling. It's perfectly normal. Just allow that connection to be stabilized. And now allow your awareness and that energy to move up, back through the root system, back up through your feet, up through your legs, and reconnect into that root chakra. And feel that energy flowing back and forth. Good. Now, allow that energy to move up into your sacral chakra right below the belly button. Allow the energy of the pendulum that is spinning right now. Allow that pendulum energy to open up that chakra, that sacral chakra. Allow the energy to flow freely through the sacral chakra and now up into the solar plexus chakra. Allow the pendulum energy to open up that chakra. Feel it flowing freely. Now move it up into the heart chakra. Let your heart chakra open up with the energy flowing freely. Open up the heart chakra. And now move your awareness and that energy up into your throat chakra. Clear your throat a little bit, allowing you to speak your truth. And now move your awareness up into your third eye chakra, right in the middle of your forehead, connecting you to your source. And now allow that energy to move up into your crown chakra, freely flowing around the crown chakra. And now allow that energy to move up into the cosmos, connecting you to the cosmic energy, and feel that solid and stable foundational energy field between cosmic energy, you, and the earth. Feel that stability. Now give yourself 100% permission to allow my guides to connect with your guides and give you the experience that is best for you and best for all concerned today. Good. Now, I want you to give yourself permission to allow in the emotional frequency of love. Just allow love to saturate your energy field. Picture it like a blue light flowing around your energy field, filling that Taurus-based energy field, flowing from the bottom, from your root chakra, all the way up into the cosmic connection you've made, and all the way back down, circling around that blue light of love. Good. Now allow every cell, every molecule, every atom, every quartz, and every strand of DNA to calibrate to the frequency of love. Good. Now allow yourself to bring in the emotional frequency of abundance. Feel what abundance feels like. Unlimited abundance. Feel what it feels like for you. And picture that as a bright green light saturating your energy field. And as that green light of abundance is saturating your energy field, allow every cell, every molecule, every atom, every quartz, and every strand of DNA to calibrate to the frequency of abundance. Now I'm going to bring in, I'm getting the impulse that someone needs to have an activation with my shamanic guides. So I'm going to talk some light language. Everyone will receive a message that's for them. Huana shikata no hu no huanahakata chiwati nikamanana shianahakata shianaha kanahak kanahakatiyata moyata tanaka shikanahaika shihaina kaita moai. Now give yourself 100% permission to allow yourself to be more and more of the uplifter, positive influencer, co-creator of mutually beneficial relationships, and conscious conduit of connection and collaboration that you came here to be. Now allow those frequencies to saturate every cell, every molecule, every atom, every quartz, and every strand of DNA in your physical body. Give yourself thanks for having this experience. Give yourself appreciation. And whenever you're ready, feel free to open your eyes.
Sweet.
See what that pendulum's doing?
What can I say? I have that effect on pendulums. How you feeling, Yanko?
I felt it, but this isn't the first time I felt energies like that. And it usually was in the back of the head and the top and a little bit down the spine. So just to give a little background to people, I also do light language when I go in trance and I connect to different things. And I I felt the energy presence of whatever Drew brought in. So that was good. Like I like it.
Yeah, Yanko.
Usually you can tell by how it feels. Like Drew was saying, when you're connecting to different things, you can feel the vibration of whatever you're connecting to, and positive or negative or whatever you feel like. Um, and so that was a positive experience. That was good.
Yeah, Yanko.
Um,
Pretty sure that whatever that message was for you. That
I,
was for something for you and your guides moving forward. I'm pretty sure. I can't tell you what it was, but that's
I can tell you what it is too, because a lot of the times when you do this kind of transmissions, and that's my understanding of it. You usually feel it. Your thinking mind doesn't make sense of it because it's um, one way I can compare it to people that are technical. It's like watching packets of internet traveling to a wire or a fiber optic or whatever you want to imagine it. It doesn't make sense to people that observe it, but once it gets on the other side and it gets recombined and it made sense of, it all comes together. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
perfect. Yeah, perfect, perfect explanation.
I
yeah.
love it. I release something, I don't know what, but I know my body, particularly when it's carrying something, it tightens my chest and then I burp it out. Like it's not an audible burp, but it's like a pocket of air. And I understood this about me for a couple years now, and it just pulled something up and released it. So I'm
Awesome.
good.
I
Yay!
mean, you'll be surprised how much garbage you can get by just walking outside in public.
Yeah,
Um, not even like being aware of what is yours and what it's not yours. You can just even by just doing grocery shopping. It's like when you go out and you can have a nice clean clothes and you sit on something and they get dirty and then you bump on into a car or something and then they got more dirty and there's more things, and usually if you let go, just let go. It's kind of like changing clothes. It's like, oh, I'm all right now.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you say that. I just had this conversation with somebody I worked with yesterday who happens to work in service to other people. And I asked this person, "Do you cleanse your energy?" And they didn't. And I'm like, "Yo, like you're taking in a lot of energy. You put your hands on people physically, and that's something you really want to be cognizant of. You know what I mean? And mindful of, and doing what you can to not then bring that energy home. Now, granted, she isn't she's still working through states of consciousness, right? But I know, Yanko, you and I have talked about the fact that we walk in and we read people's energy. And Drew, you said the same thing. Like I can feel I'm like, I am very attuned to the energy going on in the room. Um, and until you know that, most people are taking on all of the energy as if it's theirs, and it's not. And you don't have to absorb it and like operate from that anxiety or fear or anger or whatever it is that you're entrenched in at any given moment.
yeah. I was actually really fortunate early on, not really early on, but early on in the expansion of what I'm now practicing. But I was taught by a world-renowned energy healer how to actually create a boundary of energy, and not a, it's a permeable field. I can still feel people's energy, but they're not allowed into mine.
Yeah.
Like I won't absorb them. I can't. I just will not allow myself to absorb their energy, and that's another really interesting thing. You know, like I've had lots of professional readers go, "Can I read your energy?" It's like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And they'll go, "I got nothing." And I'm like, "That's because you're not allowed in," you know.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, "Well, can I come in?" I was, "Sure, come on in," you know. But yeah, it's important to know that everything that's going on around you, you actually have more control over than you think, and it is really based on your emotional energy and how you're operating. And if you're allowing yourself to absorb other people's stuff, that's not helpful. It's not.
Well,
What are
not
your
only I was gonna say is not only like not helpful, but you can absorb their pains and aches and other things, and you don't really want to do that. You want to let them do their homework. Like if you're in the field of healing people, you don't want to, like if they say have a disease or something, you don't want to take away their disease and transfer it on you. Um, and that's another thing. Like with energies and other things, you're at least and what I do, I hold space for people when they
Yeah,
work with me.
yeah.
Like
We're all
I hold space for people. I'm not there to do their homework. I'm there to support and help them get through whatever they're going through. But bottom line is you have to do the work yourself. There's no shortcut. There's no, hey, can you do the homework for me, please? Or can you zap me from here to here? And it doesn't work that
I
way.
want to jump in because I love the reason that you and I connected, like right off the rip, is you were the first hypnotist that I talked to that recognized that it's ongoing work all the time. And I've done lives about the fact that you can go to a Reiki master, have them heal your energy. But if you're not doing the work every day, you might as well live at your Reiki's office because all you're doing is compacting more energy. And I said to two of my clients, I think the only difference between myself and you two is that I am an accountability coach. So I'm checking in with you every day and making sure that you did the one thing because I also recognize and am very knowledgeable about our subconscious and the embedded imprinted beliefs, habits, and behaviors. And until you've started to move the dial on how worthy you are, right? We all know everybody's worthy. They don't know they're worthy. They're gonna self-sabotage, but the work is always theirs. And I learned a long time ago, if I'm trying to do the work for them, then we can't work together because it's not my journey, it's not my mess.
Well,
So
I was gonna add, and sorry, Drew, do you want to jump in or?
No, no. I was just going to say that's exactly why I designed the system, the flow state mastery system that I designed. It's designed to be used daily. You activate your own emotional frequencies. I'll walk you through the process of that, and it's something that needs to be done every day. I do it every day. Every day. I'm not walking out of my room until I've activated the emotional frequencies I choose to operate within every day. And it's not like a diploma you get and hang on your wall and you just go out and go, I've got this diploma. No, it's stuff you got to do every day. And the more you do it, the better it gets.
yes.
Right? The more you do it, the better it gets, the easier it gets, the stronger it gets. So go ahead, Yanko.
Well, no, because you're creating new habits, new pathways in your brain of like whatever you're doing, you get better at it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say if you practice something like 5 minutes a day, that over time, a period of year, it's going to get to 100 hours, and you're going to be like 99% better than everybody else in the world at it because you're doing that like 5 minutes a day thing that you're doing for a long time.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say to Kerri is that I love that you're doing the accountability because some people need that. It's different for everyone,
Yep.
and that's why we attract different people. So when I was and I'll compare it to myself, when I was into workouts and other things, I wanted an accountability buddy. I wanted somebody to go and say, all right, today we're doing legs. let's go. And we're kind of like build up the energy of each other, and we keep going, and you work out and you do other things. So for what you do, that's exactly what people will need. Um, and for the rest of the people that are kind of like okay with what they're doing, and they might not feel like they need accountability coach or somebody that'll do that, they'll resonate to somebody else,
Yep.
which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is we all have our own journey, absolutely. And it's interesting because I think about it. I didn't need an accountability coach for the most part, because I've been through so much. Like, I already knew that whatever I put my mind to, I would be able to stay the course no matter how hard it got. And it gets icky sticky, because the reality is we can activate our emotional frequencies and stuff, but stuff is gonna come up that you can clear it, right? You just have to be able to clear it. Otherwise, it's still trapped in your subconscious and your energetic field. You can call it karma or whatever. And so just being able to do that is so critical. And I was talking to a light worker yesterday, and they were sharing with me an experience about how they were really upset about other people talking about them. And I said, you got to do the work. And this person turned around and was like, well, I did the work. And I'm like, well, no, you not enough, because I give zero craps what anybody thinks about me. There's no way that I can, like, people are going to love this show.
Exactly.
This show.
Yeah.
You
I
can't
mean,
care about
yeah.
that limits you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just reminding people, if the minute you find yourself comparing, right? If I compare myself to Yanko and Drew, I'm in lack. I'm in limit. I'm feeling insecure. If I'm creating content based on how I think it's going to be received by the audience, I'm not in authenticity, because I'm creating something that I think somebody will like, rather than what Drew, Yanko, and myself actually do, which is tap into source and just put out what flows through us. Drew didn't say, oh my God, somebody's gonna think I'm weird because I'm tapping into star light, whatever. I don't know, because I don't tap into that, and say weird words, right? If he did that, he would limit himself, he would create resistance, and he wouldn't be open to the learning and the expansion that he's meant for in this human experience that he's having.
Exactly. I mean, I remember when it first came, I'm like, what is this? What is this? And then I
yeah.
Why you surround yourself with other people that are like you, because I had another guy who was a tribal healer from a spiritual tribal healer from the Philippines, and I said, his name is God, I'm missing his name now. Anyway, Rhythm. That's his name. And so I said, I want you to listen to something. Tell me what you think it is. And so I did it. I did my voice. He goes, dude, you're a worker.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you know what you can do? You can set the intent that you tell what it is in between. So, like, if you want to understand, and then you do whatever the light language is. I didn't watch if you were doing anything with the hands, but I usually do hand movements with like moving energy or whatever. So if I set the intention, I'll do the light language and I'll say clearing throat chakra, and then it'll continue on, and then the other person will know what's actually is happening if they're in the thinking mind. Or I'll say like doing clearing or activating, and it'll go with whatever the language is doing. So that might be something you might want to do, because it was like that for me when I was doing light language. But I'm more of I want to know like what is it happening, like what is it saying, because you can feel it and you can kind of get a sense of what it is, and inside you might even get visuals as it does, because sometimes it's a download, depends on how you're connecting with guides and other things. So to me it could be like like images, memories, like all of a sudden I got something and I know what I'm doing. Like you were saying, this is for me because like you have like inner knowing, like your guidance systems is telling you. But it could be like for people, if you do it, you can set the intent to do that and see if that works out for you.
Yeah, what I use instead of moving my hands is I'm using the pendulum.
Yeah.
I'm letting that
Okay.
pendulum expand the field and reach
Okay.
out to people. So and that's what came to me. So that was like, because I'd never worked with pendulums before, to be honest. I mean, I just got the impulse, hey, try the pendulum with that table. Like, do what?
Yeah.
So I mean, this is all just sort of unfolded for me, and it's just a ton of fun. I mean, that's the beautiful part about this. This is all just fun.
Yes. Thank you. Preach. Well, two things.
There's nothing
One,
serious going on here, guys. The more fun you can have with this
Nothing serious.
the more fun it is for everybody else around you.
well, but that is really hard, right? So for anybody who ever watches Nana and I, and we kind of put our lives on social media, I purposefully do it because I was seeped in that suffering, and I want to be able to keep like my whole life as evidence for other people that you can, you know, go through the experiences I've had and then find like the fun, the joy. And I totally get it. This is meant to be fun. But I have also, I recognize that again, when you're operating from fear and
Yep.
shame, the resistance that
Yep.
you have to the very idea that this is supposed to be fun it can seem monumental. It's like, how the hell? And I remember being that person who would watch people like you two and myself now and be like, these people are fake ass people. They full of crap, and truly like believing that it was crap. And so that's why I always encourage people to suspend what you think you know. Just come from curiosity. You don't even have to believe me, because much like Drew said, right? I don't get downloads like them, but I can tell you, and I've shared this with Drew before, I have read A Course in Miracles 150 times, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao Te Ching. I have read extensively on spirituality as well as science, right? Drew talks about Joe Dispenza. I've taught Deepak Chopra. There is just a plethora of scientific minds that have been able to prove with measurements, with scientific measurements, right? That the higher your energy is, the I mean, honestly, the more joy you'll have. But you literally are a co-creator with this world. You get to co-create whatever experience you have, but you got to stay open to it, because the minute you tell yourself, well, that's not possible, you just close yourself off from the potentiality of experiencing something different.
Yep. Yep.
Well, for one, none of this is real. It's all a projection of your mind. Because even if you go technically into like sensory inputs from the body, it's the instrument. It sends it to your brain puts it all together based on the impulse and says, this is a human, this is a flower, this is whatever. So none of that it's real, because like dreams are kind of the same way. So if you can fly into dreams and construct different things, you can do the same thing here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Right. And watch what shows up.
yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then think about it, right? I was telling my community the reticulating activating system is a part of the brain. The scientists have discovered that if I tell Drew, I want you to cultivate a red car, he's going to go out his house, and guess what his brain is going to help him find? Red cars. Right? So like that's it, is that's why, I studied Brene Brown extensively 20 years ago, all of her work. I love her. She absolutely, hands down, helped me get to the place where I am today. However, she does speak to the fact that as humans, we're all emotion. Maybe, but what creates emotion? Thought. Our
Thoughts.
thought. creates emotion. And so we're not emotions. We're the thought behind the emotion.
Yeah.
And when you can pluck apart that thought that creates an emotion that feels icky, sticky, and yucky, then you no longer feel icky, sticky, and yucky. And then you get to create experiences through thought that bring you more joy. And I was telling Drew last week, I needed to come up with $825 for my daughter to go to driver's ed. I didn't have $825 in my bank account. Hell, I had like, I don't even know, $13. Very next day, I had an abundance amount of money because all I did was, I'm going to get enough money to pay for my daughter to go to driver's ed. And I had enough money to pay for my daughter to go to driver's ed. And that is what you can do when you clear your energy fields and then you're mindful of your thinking. And that's where Drew, myself, and Yanko all are very cohesive in our understanding. You're creating your reality with your thoughts. So first get aware of your thoughts and then choose ones that serve you, make you feel better, rather than staying in the conditioned thinking that most people do, where they feel lack, victimized, and apathetic about life.
Right. Yeah, I'll share a perfect story to sort of wrap this up. Right on the heels of what you just talked about, I have a friend that I worked with, and his pattern was that he would go to work and get a thought that said something along the lines of, really, I'm not motivated to be here today. And then he'd get another thought like that and another thought like that, and he'd spiral down and he would just shut down. He'd go right into an anxiety attack and wouldn't talk to anybody and just kind of live in his own space. And that was his pattern for his days. And with working with me and understanding more and more about it, he came up to me one day and he said, I got to tell you what happened at work. I'm like, okay. He goes, I got that thought. I'm not motivated to be here today. And I went, wait a minute. I don't have to think that anymore. Boom. Awareness. Caught it. And then he went, well, what would happen if I did feel motivated to be at work today? Well, I'd feel like this, and then I'd feel like this, and then I'd feel like this, and then I feel like this. He just worked his way up the emotional spiral, and the rest of his day was perfect. And he looked at me and he goes, I never knew I had that kind of power. And I'm like, that's it. That's your power. You get that, the world will change.
Hang on. So, hey, I am a med student, just almost to get into it. Eventually. I am preparing to take an exam, but since I graduated from college, I am going to coaching. My whole life was twisted. But not productive anymore. Dua, I believe that's how I pronounce your name. First off, graduating from med school, no matter how you slice it, that's an incredible feat.
Yeah.
So hats off to you. I didn't even finish high school, so I commend you for sticking to it because that requires discipline. I'm not 100% sure what it is you're trying to share, but I believe you're saying you're going into coaching. And if that's the case, awesome. If not, please feel free to elaborate. And any of the three of us would be happy to hopefully respond to your question. And if not, you can certainly reach out to any of us afterwards. So that way we can connect with you and support you in whatever way feels really good for you.
Yeah.
Yanko, what are your thoughts? Because I know you definitely have some insight to share too.
Well, it's pretty simple, really. There's no past or future. We're always in the now. And from the now, you're going back in your brain and you're pulling the memories of whatever experience you have and you're bringing the past into the future. And that takes energy because it doesn't have to be that way. Like you struggle to bring it up and convince yourself that based on whatever memory you have, this is how it is now because you always been okay. But until you pull that memory up from the past and saying, well, this is how I feel. I don't feel motivated or whatever. And you're changing the now into the creating the past. So there's no future, there's no past. It's always now. And we either think of the future and create whatever fantasies you want to create, or we either bring the past in the now and we suffer from it. So you don't have to suffer, or like Drew was saying, once you get it, you'll be like, okay, I don't have to go and bring this in, and I'm here now, so let's have some fun. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're spot on, and I love that. Gentlemen, if you could do me a favor, drop your information in the private chat, and I'm gonna post it so that so that we can share all of our information with anybody who's looking to reach out to any one of us.
I would do that if I knew how.
Okay. Well, do me a favor. Tell me it, and I'll type it in.
Did he disappeared?
Yep. He did. All good. I'm copying your stuff. I don't believe in multitasking at all. So I think that for me, it works. I got you.
Thank you. Yep, you got it.
Sweet. Awesome. And then I don't know what happened to Drew. But Dua, deep gratitude and severe appreciation for sharing, because this is truly what Drew and I up here we go. We got our boy back. Hang on. Let me figure out how to get you on, Drew. What's going on? Okay.
See what happens when you have me try to do something that's
you know what? Listen, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. So like not even weaknesses, because for me, it's just the things I don't want to do because it doesn't bring me joy. Drew, just tell it to us and I'll type it in the chat.
Sure. So the best way to get a hold of me is my phone number. Just text me 734-645-2395. Or you can visit my website at youarepowerfulbeyondmeasure.com.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna put your phone number in. And interestingly enough, I have my phone number on my website too, because I love unexpected calls.
Sure.
But yeah, what I was saying before you popped in was I appreciate Dua showing up and interacting with us and engaging. All three of us are really here to serve. I truly believe, I'm going to put a shameless plug out. Yesterday, I watched One Love, right? For anybody who knows me well, knows I'm obsessed with Bob Marley. Totally, killed that man's albums when I was young. Still totally rock. And I watched a movie, and holy crap, was he a spiritual dude. I didn't realize just how deep. First off, Rastafari, it's 1-1. There's no you and me. They say 1 and 1. And so I believe, and why I aligned so much with this movie, and I'm going to have Nana watch it with me again tonight. Hint, hint, if you're watching, Nana, is because we are one. And all of us believe that it is our responsibility to show up in service to others who haven't quite been able to pick apart the beliefs that make them believe that we're separate. So that's my sign off. Thank you for being here. Any of you want to add anything before I end this show?
I think we're good.
No, nothing comes to mind. It was a pleasure hanging with you guys and everybody that watches on the replay. Thank you for spending your time.
We want Ski to come join us on for no particular reason. Any Friday you're free. And then seriously, guys, I'll leave you with this. The reality is you get to choose the experience you're having in this life. That's just facts. Whether you believe in the stuff that the three of us discuss or not, if you don't feel well, I encourage you, I implore you, seek something that is going to help you feel better, because the reality is it's possible and you're worthy of it. And with that, much love. We'll see you next week. Keep